What's up? What's up? What's up, man? You inside the Grind Network. This is the Grind Talk with OmgJaycee, man. And look, I got a special guest this week, bro. I got my business partner, one of the biggest entrepreneurs in my eyesight right now. We in here with the hungry genius himself, BOXX. What's happening, King?
Man, what it do, JC? What it do, man? Thank you for having me, bro.
Oh, good, bro. I got you in the hot seat right now. You know, you ain't got me on the camera this season.
Yeah.
So I'm putting the focus on my artists this rip. I want them to really focus on just you and what you got going on. So like I say, we go jump right into it, man. I got a few questions I want to ask you today. I got a few ideas I want to get from you as a supporter of you being a businessman. I got some things I want to talk to you that's probably gonna insight me on some things, you know.
Right. Let's go.
So we gonna jump right into it, man. I want you to just put your social medias out there right quick, man. Where we could find BOXX.
Man, on Instagram, BOXX_hungry. Facebook, you could type in BOXX the Hungry Genius as well. I kind of operate more from my government name page, Christopher, last name Kelson. But basically, I'm sure probably by the time this come out, man, the website will be up and running. BOXXthehungrygenius.com is one central location people can find me at, you know.
Man, I'm excited right now to even be hollering at my bro right now in this platform. This is one of many interviews.
Yeah.
So we gonna kick it off, man. Artist, entrepreneur.
Right.
What does that mean for artists coming up? Is that something that should be pursued more, you say?
Most definitely. I would say why, because the game done changed now. You know, back then the artists used to make a lot of their money from the music, with physical CDs and sales and things like that. But if you notice now, I just seen a report on Trapital, TRAPITAL, Trapital.com. Wendy Day put me on that. And it showed your top artists from Jay-Z, Kanye, everybody. Most of your top artists make a lot of their money outside of the music business. They just use the music to bring light and get their following, and then they leverage their following from the music to make money outside of the music business from an entrepreneurship standpoint. That's why you ain't seen Rihanna drop a song in almost 5 to 8 years. Because she got the Fenty line, and she makes more money from cosmetic than she do from doing shows and record sales. So I would definitely tell an artist to pursue entrepreneurship, because in order for you to eat in this industry in 2022 and moving forward, you need to know how to monetize from merch, music, versus endorsement deals, movie placements, getting your music scored on TV, things like that. All that is forms of entrepreneurship, to where you can either take the money from that and invest it into something else, or you can put it right back into the music. So that's very huge.
I love that. That just gave me some game. Can't be in a grocery store without product.
There you go.
I like that. I like
Shout out
that.
to Master P. He say product don't
Product, man. So I like to say I think of you as a Master B. We gonna say Master B, Master BOXX, because a lot of artists will not give game to another artist in this era. You know, they feel like they taken away from their situation, and in reality, the game that you give, it sharpens you, if you agree with me.
Right.
I think teach one, learn from one, you know?
Yeah, I like
so, that. Speaking on being an artist and an entrepreneur, right? The Make 'Em Move song, we know it as one of the hottest growing songs in our culture right now when it comes to dance, but let's speak on the entrepreneur side of that. Taking it to more of a household song, right?
Right.
How important is it? Like when you say entrepreneurship, how important is it to make sure you got the business of that song before the fun of that song?
And nobody never asked me that. That's a great question, bro. So I would say, man, there's so many ways I can go with that. So making sure the business of a record is important, because when we get in the studio, a lot of artists, we emotional, you know. we'll deal with the business later, or I don't want to deal with that. I want to make this record. I hear this beat. It's making me feel some kind of way, and I get it. It's nothing that can compare. There's no amount of money that can compare to how an artist feel when they creating. So we tend to not want to focus on the details, the paperwork, the split sheets. I'm throwing out words that I know if anybody's looking at this, they might not understand, but I want them to go Google what is a split sheet. So when we in the studio, we create. That's why you hear a lot of these records blow up, and then there's feuds between the artist and the record label, or between artists a part of the song. Not to speak on people's business because I don't know a lot of the ins and outs, but I know a lot of that was the reason behind Jeezy and Gucci originally beefing behind the So Icy record. The business behind that. And most of the time that we artists coming from the hood or from the streets, or even if we not from the streets, we just green to business. We jumping into a game where it's a real business first, but we looking at it from an art standpoint. And that gets us in trouble on the back end, because if you don't take care of your business on the front end, you might have a massive record, but it come back and bite you on the ass on the back end because you didn't take care of the business on the front end, and you didn't know that a business was even involved. So to answer your question directly, with the Make a Move record, I always have to give kudos to Shantae on the track. Shantae on the track is one of the most infamous engineers and beat makers to come out of Baton Rouge. He was a part of creating that Jigga City sound with the Jiggalators, and he used to master my songs years ago. And Shantae called me to the studio at about 1 or 2 in the morning one night out the blue. We had a business relationship, but not like that to where he could call me to the studio. So it was kind of weird, but I thank God for that opportunity that day, because he called me to the studio and I was looking at him. It's 1 in the morning. My CEO, Candace, at the time, she's sitting on side of me. I'm like, we getting a song master? She like, no. I'm like, so why Shantae calling us to the studio? And make a long story short, he had a long talk with us about the music industry being a music business. And I don't know if he's seen maybe our naiveness every time we would come and get the songs mastered that led him to talk to us that night, or if he's seen my hunger. I never asked him. Honestly, I think when the last time I talked to him to give him his flowers, he didn't even remember he had that talk with me. So it goes to show you sometimes when you're doing things out of the kindness of your heart, you sowing the seed, you forget about it. But anyway, Shantae said, man, you're a great writer. You can write. And I had to be about 21 years old then. And he said, but usually people like you that can rap, that can write, never make it in the music industry. And I was looking at him crazy because it scared me. But he set it up real cool. After he said that, he was like, they don't make it because they don't go learn that it's a business. And he said, man, if you don't go learn the business, he said, then it's gonna come back and bite you. And he gave me a great analogy. He said, if you don't have your paperwork together with songs and with music, he said, once you get a buzz and he said a song catch flight or you just start popping off, he said it's impossible to come back and he say and catch all the money you left on the table that fell in between the cracks because you ain't had your business together. He say it's impossible to catch up business wise with your trajectory when you blowing up from a business standpoint. So he says it's best to have everything taken care of on the front end. That way when you take off, then you don't have to worry about did I leave, no pun intended, no crumbs, I don't leave any crumbs on the table, right? So I knew from the feeling when I first wrote Make a Move, I say, man, it's something different about this record. This one of them ones. I know sometimes as us as artists, we can't choose what the streets gonna choose as a hit, but I knew that record, I say, this one of them ones. So I instantly bought the exclusive rights from EQ on the spot. Shout out to my dog EQ. Bought the exclusive rights. I bought the exclusive rights from him before I even went and recorded the song. That's how confident I was. And then I knew that I needed to get Be Real on it. I heard him on the hook in my mind, I wrote the hook with him in mind. Manifestation, after I wrote the hook to Make a Move, I hadn't seen Be Real in 10 years. I seen him the very next day at the corner store. He pulled up on side me in the car. I can't make up no
confirmation,
lies.
Man. Confirmation.
And I tapped on his window. I say, you won't believe this. I got a hit record with you on it. And he looking at me like, okay, all right, man, let me run to the store, get some chips. Anybody know Be Real? He always moving from left to right. So he come back out. He sit in my car. I've been riding around with the Make a Move beat for 2 weeks straight. I'm just so jacked up about the beat. You know, I'm pulling up at the red lights, homeless people dancing on the corner. That's another indication. It was just people that didn't even know I rapped. I'd pull up at the corner and the beat would be so loud in my car, people would just move before even words was on the song. So when I let Be Real hit a hook in the car, he like, okay, yeah. But you could tell he still wasn't feeling it yet because it's different from rapping it in person and then going and lay the vocals down.
Most definitely.
Next week, we laid it down, and when he heard it after he laced it, and you know, I told him I wanted to sound exactly like this, and he got the song exactly how I heard it in my head. But to get back to the business part, I right after we did that, before I even went to go upload it to TuneCore, that's who I use for my distribution and things, I knew I needed to get that split sheet. I had took a 3-week music business class during the pandemic from a lady in Memphis. Her name is Angie. And after I took her class, I applied everything she taught me. And I knew to go to Be Real and sit down with him and get a split sheet done. You know what I'm saying? And I got the paperwork done before I worked the record. So I knew then, I say, man, if this record does anything in my mind like I know that it's gonna do, or I think it has the potential to do, like Shantae taught me, I always have my business taken care of. So, you know, to the artists out there that's watching this, I know it's foreign language, what's a split sheet? How do I bring that up in the studio? I will tell you this, you know, it might be an uncomfortable conversation in the beginning because all of us like creating. The artist you giving a split sheet or paperwork to might not even know what that is. But if somebody is serious about doing music with you and y'all collaborating, and you bring up paperwork, if they running away from the paperwork or they don't want to sign paperwork, then, you know, that might be an indication that you need to educate them on why you giving the paperwork to them. Basically, we need to see which part of the song is for who. And if they still fighting you on that might be an indication you don't need to do a record with that person. Artists that's about their business, that understand business, or that's willing to understand business, they gonna want to make sure that the business is taken care of, you know. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but yeah, man.
The one thing about talking to the hungry genius is you gotta be starving for information, man. You know, like I say, bro, I was a supporter, a fan actually.
Wow.
At the time, you was Lil BOXX.
Yeah.
I was rolling with some guys, and you know, I see you on a few shows and flyers and stuff like that. You know, coming out of the era we was in.
Correct.
Social media was in place, but it wasn't a business platform, right?
Facts.
It was more of a lifestyle platform. So looking at you and how you move and how you conduct your business, even at the time, although it might not have been business that we see BOXX in today,
right? It
was still business because you're getting booked. So
yeah,
obviously you had to be talking to some people, knowing some people.
Yeah,
I'll say in that era with everything going on, shout out to Miss Angie too. I heard that name come up. A lot of coaches need to be in front of these artists, man. So that's dope that you took a class on what you just answered to.
Yeah.
But I want to say, what made you go from Lil BOXX to BOXX the Hungry Genius, right?
It wasn't an easy transition, but you know, like you say, back in our era, if you had Lil in front of your name, you was respected as an artist. Lil Wayne, Lil Boosie, Lil, you know.
Right, right.
So of course, you know, when I first started rapping, Lil BOXX, you know. And I got that name from my hood. Shout out to Sherwood. But you know, as I evolved as a man, you know, and as I started taking this entrepreneurship journey, and as I started speaking different and carrying myself different, and people started seeing me different, the things that I would start to write and rap about just didn't fit the name Lil BOXX no more, you know. With the newer age artists, when you hear the Lil Pumps or the Lil whatever, those, and shout out to those artists, they are dope. A lot of those artists with Lil in front of their name now in this generation are associated with mumble rap or drug user music, things like that. I know that's how the consumer see them. So I knew that people was gonna judge my new music coming out based off the name of my rap name in 2022, or back then when I dropped my mixtape 2020. So I say, man, I prayed to God. I say I need a new name before I drop any new music. And shout out to my homegirl. She's a photographer, used to be a classmate of mine. Her name is D Mike on Facebook. But D, she inspired me to change the rap name. You know, she was shooting some photography for me downtown, and I just told her, man, hey, go check out a few of my songs. I know it's been years since we seen each other. And she came back and she told me, your music is dope, but she said, I honestly didn't think it was gonna sound like it sounded because of your rap name. And she wasn't like down talking me. She was just giving me not even no constructive criticism, just her opinion, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm like, she gave me an honest opinion, and when women, you gotta listen to women. Women tell you what a hit is. You know, women usually dictates the culture sometimes with music. So I say, man, I need to listen to her. And I prayed and I asked God to, you know, bless me with a name. And I met a homeless man downtown 15 minutes after I said that prayer. And he had a bike with a lot of radios on it, just different gadgets on it. And I remember he asked me for some money. I said, I don't have any cash on me. I just got a debit card, but I said, man, hey, I can say a prayer for you. And he was like, I love that young man. And as we was parting our ways, he went right and I veered left. And I say, man, you created that bike? He said, yeah, I put all the gadgets and stuff on it. I say, man, you a genius like that, just regular talking. And he looked back at me with conviction. He said, young man. And I looked back and he said, yeah, he said, I'm not just a genius. He said, I'm a hungry genius. He said it with conviction. And I knew then, I said, God, that's it, huh? And, you know, that's how BOXX the Hungry Genius came about. And, you know, I shot a text message to people that I trusted, my mom, my mentors, with like 4 different other names. And I put BOXX the Hungry Genius in that text, but I didn't tell them which one I was leaning towards. And I asked them which names they liked best. And most of them sent back BOXX the Hungry Genius. So that was the confirmation. And, man, you know, I knew that moving forward, that name would be universal. You see BOXX the Hungry Genius on a book. You see it on a flyer. You don't really know who that is. That person could be so many different people. And with all the hats that I wear, I felt like it fit me perfectly. You know, I'm hungry and you know, I'm a genius. And you know, one thing for anybody else out there that's a genius, I always remember geniuses never ask for permission to be great. So, you know, that's what I go with, bro.
I like that. Shit. Be original, stay solid at all times, man, you know.
Big facts.
I come from a world of business myself.
I can tell you business minded.
Thank you, bro. So I always see the importance in this next question, but for someone who never took the steps of this question I'm about to ask you, how important is your message as a life coach to someone who hasn't taken the first steps yet?
Right.
So I notice when you say you always ask first.
Right.
You say a prayer, you ask. Right. Then when it comes, you able to dictate what's the blessing and what's the lesson and what's the, you know. So for somebody who really never took the steps into knowing what a life coach has to say to them, how important is the message? I'm sorry. How important is your message as a life coach to someone who hasn't taken the first steps yet?
Man, I'm gonna be honest. You asked some dope questions, bro.
I'm here with you, bro. I can't let you leave without me talking to you, bro.
No, that's, man, it's very important. It's very important because if you have influence, what you tell this person, if it's not quote unquote the right thing, or the thing I guess I want to say that God tells you to tell that person, they're gonna go do what you tell them to do, and you know, based on the amount of influence you have. Now, some people know how to eat the meat and spit out the bones, meaning I'm gonna take a little bit of what this person told me and then I'm gonna use my own discernment. But some people, they literally need guidance, and they're gonna do everything that you tell them to do to the T. So I have to understand that I'm held accountable when people come to me for advice, that I'm telling them also, it's a disclaimer, hey man, I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, you know, but this is how I did it, or this is what I recommend. And like you said, I'm very spiritual. I come up in a Christian family, you know, and I have a great relationship with God. I prayed before I pulled up here, and I say, God, give me the right words to say on camera, you know, because sometimes you can get caught up in the music and you know, I got the record going and, you know, I'll listen, you'll start thinking it's you, you know, and it's really not you, you know what I'm saying? So I understand that, you know, I'm a vessel, and he's ordering my footsteps to meet the right people at the right time to say the right things. So it's very important on what you say to people, man. I got fans that have came to me, you know. I remember one time I had a fan told me that he was finna commit suicide, man. And, you know, I left my son's football game just to go run it with this particular individual, you know. I've had fans reach out to me and say, man, your music has gotten me through tough times. You know, I've had a fan, you know, who's been on and off crack cocaine that has used my music to beat addiction. You know, so when you hear those different things, man, it makes you look at art, and it makes you look at yourself like, man, you know, it's bigger than just me creating for myself. You know, I'm speaking for a following that I didn't even know that I was gonna attain or get, you know. So it's very important on what you say to people and how you say it, and you articulate it, you know. So
like almost like no certain time is a bad time to be opened up to, really. You know, we might, I heard a key word you say. You was at your son's football game.
Right.
You might have been at a show. You might have been at something that had BOXX very tied up in time.
Right.
But not any time is the wrong time to be approached.
Right. With me, it's not. I'm saying that right now.
Because you could be used, like you say, as a vessel, man. Our higher power could use you at your least expected moment, you know.
Big facts. My mom's a prophet, so you know, I've seen my mom be in the grocery store and I'm with her, and the Holy Spirit will tell my mom to tell this person something, and I know that my mom never knew this person from a can of paint, but she had been and said something like, hey, God told me to tell you XYZ you've been waiting on is coming, or whatever like that. So I've seen my mom in situations where no time has been a bad time, and she let God use her in the midst of wherever she could be in. I done seen my mama stop and pray with people in the middle of, you know,
that she never met.
You know, yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I feel like when these things come to me, or situations like that, you know, obviously I still have respect for my family. If I'm out with my family, I don't just extend myself unless, you know, God tells me to at times, you know. But in that situation, you know, I knew my son was gonna have 1 million more sports games, you know, and I felt like, man, if this fan reached out to me and supporter, you know, then maybe it might be for a reason. What if I say, man, I don't really know them like that, they might be tripping, you know, and I just focus on my son game that day, and then I find out this person committed suicide. I would have felt bad. Not that I caused it, but I would have felt bad that maybe I could have been that person that could have stopped it. You know
right. Being used by the higher power. You're never being used when it's from your calling. But you know what I mean. And I've been in a lot of situations where, like, a lot of situations where I've been called up to the plate and I didn't even have my bat in my hand.
I like that analogy.
You know, and before I got to that plate, I might have more. The ball would still go come if I had that bat or if I didn't, you know.
Facts.
And,
I like that analogy.
You know, so that's why I like to keep them right analogies for certain reasons. Because I'm, like I said, I fall in the same play. I know our team do the same thing. A lot of people come to us at times where we asking instead of accepting, you know. And that's why I like what you say on that. So I will say this too.
Can I tell you a secret right quick though?
Come on, bro.
Everything you say, the entrepreneur, the life coach, you know, I never heard nobody call me that before. I really ran away from all them things, bro. I really, you know, anybody that's been around me, you know, shout out to my dog, Pharaoh, who's in here. He's taking the pictures. I know y'all can't see him off the camera, but, you know, he didn't see me a lot being on the road and the passion for the music, but also the entrepreneurship. But a lot of people tell you I really care the most. It's a different thing that lights up in my eye when I'm doing music, though. You know what I'm saying? When I'm writing, when I'm recording, you know. So I done literally fought people, not physically, on my team, because I'm like, man, I just want to rap. You know what I'm saying? I really don't want to wear all these other hats, but you know, God showed me. Shout out to Tony, my road manager. Like,
shout out to Tony too.
Tony, he been telling me, step into your role.
Yeah.
You know, step into your role, you know.
Understood. Overstood.
I like to do things when I want to do them. You know what I'm saying? On my own time. I like to march to the beat of my own drum, right? But also, that's why you have people in your corner they know you gonna be yourself, but they also sowing them seeds along the way for when you get ready. So when I started to step into these roles, my dog, he ain't say, man, I've been told you in a negative way. It's like, I've been seeing it in you before you seen it in you. So I'm grateful for the life coach, these titles or these positions or these callings that has been placed upon me, because hadn't I walked into them, man, I probably would just be still the person that just wanted to rap and not make an impact outside of rap. You know what I'm saying? So, I appreciate that. I just try not to get caught up in the titles at times and just get caught up in serving and doing the work.
I got you on that. That's
I appreciate
big.
that.
That's
I appreciate
big.
that, bro.
No, man, like I say, we go talk about everything I see in you and everything I want to know from you for the people who see something in you, you know?
Yes, sir.
So, like, while I got BOXX on the floor, y'all, like I said, I just want to give him his roses and flowers, because a lot of people quit when they see time change.
Facts.
When they see errors become faster or slower, they say, all right, well, let me just do this in the meantime.
Right.
I notice in different eras you pick up the pace, right?
Wow.
So being from many eras in the music and still being able to learn, right? You're still learning every day. How effective is it to keep the new and the old era in the loop of all your business plans?
Man, it's so important, bro. I never noticed. I didn't know that you noticed that, or do other people notice that, and I probably didn't notice that about myself. But yeah, it's important. You gotta adapt. You know what I'm saying? If you don't adapt, you get left backwards. If you think about anybody who didn't adapt, they got left backwards. When people was trying to tell Blockbuster, man, hey, it's going into digital, they didn't listen. You know what I'm saying? And when it went into digital, nobody was going by CDs and DVDs no more. They went out of business, you know? So, having to adapt through the times and still stay true to who you are and what you doing while adapting. You know what I'm saying? So that's very important, because if not, you'll get left behind. And you still and when you adapting, guess what? You still doing you. You're not trying to conform to what's popping or what's trendy at the moment. So like you say, whenever the times would change, I would just stand taller, and say, hey man, okay, I gotta keep putting out records. Okay, this the new lingo now. Okay, I might put a little bit of that lingo, but I'm still gonna have my sauce on it. And you evolve through the time periods. If you don't evolve through the time periods, then number one, your music starts to sound outdated. You start to sound outdated. The business moves you make is outdated. We used to pass out CDs. I still got CDs, but guess what? I give them to specific fans and I sign them, and now they're collector's items. So I still can give out a CD, but it ain't gonna be in a way where I'm in front of the club passing out 1,000. They don't even make calls with CD players.
right.
So you learn how to adapt. Now when I pass out flyers, they got the QRC code on it. That's basically the same thing as a CD. You feel me? So I look at those things and I say, man, the goal is always to get heard. I heard DMX say, man, I got fame, I got money, and when I got all of that, I found out really all I wanted to do was be heard. So how is it that I can keep evolving through these time eras to keep staying to get heard? Not to get heard is content. Content is key. That's why I wasn't doing a lot of interviews pre-pandemic, but I knew, okay, man, everybody not outside, everybody on their phone. So guess what BOXX better do? I better focus on content. You know what I'm saying? And content is what started getting me booked. When I was working my record, Make 'Em Move, Whoop, I'm still working it, but when I first started working it, it was people seeing me online working it that made my phone ring, which got me in more spaces. And when people see me in person, that made my phone ring more. So, it's important to evolve through the time periods, man, and stand tall. And like you say, there's people that have stood down, they have quit. But guess what, man? You never get a reward for being inconsistent. You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
You gotta stay consistent even when it's tough. And the reward always comes in the end.
Understood. That's pretty much over the not even over answering. That's not what I mean when I say that. That's more game. That's more game that we needed, because like I say, man, if you back down, it's like, here go another analogy. I'm coming with them, man. I'm coming with them.
I'm loving it.
When you jump out of traffic and you say the car's coming too fast. Nah, man. When you jump back on that airline highway or your main intersection, wherever you are on the globe, everything moving at the same pace. But when you go to that corner store and you go take a little break right quick, everything just zooming past you.
Right.
And sometimes a lot of people don't know how to jump back into that, you know. And that's the same thing we say, man. When the times keep going, don't jump out of traffic. You know, that's when you need to be looking at the person on side you like, hey man, look,
Facts.
What you got, you know, what you know. So yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real. The key word, bro,
Mm-hmm.
for me was humility. I knew that pre-pandemic I hadn't put out any music for 2 to 3 years because I was focused on building my business.
Okay.
You know, I went into entrepreneurship. A lot of people don't know, to get the money from entrepreneurship and to actually put the money from the music and entrepreneurship, to put that actually back into the music. You know what I'm saying? So I had to understand that, you know, the money from the entrepreneurship was going to help me create the freedom and create the time and things like that, so I can take my music business to the next level. But what I'm speaking about from a humility standpoint is, man, I knew when I got back focused with the music, like, I had to humble myself, bro. And the reason why I had to humble myself is because I knew that the artist that I was, prior to the pandemic, I knew that I wasn't that same artist. I knew that I hadn't been on it. This is a business of what have you done for me lately. So guess what I had to do? I had to go back and do showcases. I had to go back and do open mics. I had to go back and do free shows. I had to humble myself and not say, man, I've been in the game 15 years. Y'all better book me. Or, man, I'm better than most of these. No. Guess what I had to do? I had to say, man, this is a new era. This is a new age of artists. The best thing that I could do is jump back in, work harder to get my name back to where I know that it's at, and also be an example for the people that have heard of me or that know me, like yourself, JC, or even the artists that see me and never had heard of me. And you know, that's a humbling thing, because guess what? When I would go to these showcases, some of these artists wasn't respecting me or treating me like how you might see me and be like, what's up, King? Shit, them artists looking at me like, they think I just came out yesterday too. And if you can't humble yourself, then you'll be on a high horse thinking people owe you something because who you think you are. I knew when I jumped back into the music full-fledged during the pandemic that I had to rework all the way over from ground up. But I knew that I wasn't going to be in that place long because I had seen this movie before, and I knew the right moves to make because I had made all the wrong moves in previous years, and I capitalized on some of the right moves. So yeah, man, to get through this era and different eras, man, I had to humble myself and say, stay teachable, stay asking questions, you know, stay working, stay consistent, stay in their face. And you know, on those things right there, they take you to the next level.
Man, that's some game. That's some game. On the Grind Talk, y'all already know the motto. We educate, man. We don't interrogate, man.
Yeah.
That's the motto, man. That's the motto. So right now we sitting here with BOXX, the Hungry Genius. You can pull him up on any streaming platform. You can pull him up on social media. You can pull up to his shows and he'll give you game at the shows, you know?
Yes, sir.
But we gonna go back away from music right quick.
Okay.
I know it still ties into what you do with the music, but I see established in 2017. I want to know the elevation process since then of the Hustle Valley Nation.
There you go.
When I say elevation, you know, we all start at the rocks, but what elevation and what test have you took out of that brand right now? And still gaining, you know, still running the brand, but what elevation processes you went through?
Just understanding the brand and understanding that a brand is bigger than you, and you have to, even when you starting from in the backyard or in your mom's house. I created Hustle Valley when I was a janitor cleaning toilets. When you create it from that, you can't see it as what it is in current form. You gotta see it how you see it long term. You know, so I copyrighted it in 2017, but I created and started using that term like around 2013, 2014. So I'm cleaning toilets thinking, man, I'm finna drop a project called Hustle Valley. It was really a mixtape idea. Shout out to DJ Renee, one of my mentors and my godmother. When she heard the name, she said Hustle Valley, not just a mixtape name. She said that's a lifestyle. You could do something with that.
Yeah.
So that's important too, why you have a team around you, because they stretch your vision. And I say, you right. And, you know, it represents, the definition of Hustle Valley is a reinvented hustler, the evolution of a go-getter without compromising one's morals, character, and integrity. And basically, I created the brand to show people you can evolve, you can become a better version of yourself, but still stay true to your core of who you are, you know. I've learned a lot through that, just building that brand, especially on the merch side. You know, I was just hustling hand to hand out the back of my trunk, getting it. I still drop off a pack every now and then if a person needs 3 or 4 shirts. But I had to learn that if I'm ever take this brand to the next level, I have to have systems in place. I have to have a website. You know, a lot of things is moving to online. You know, so learning how to build a brand and learning that human interaction when I sell shirts or when I sell merch with Hustle Valley, only understanding that I'm the #1 representation of it first, and how I set the tone with it is how other people are gonna see the brand. So I watch who from an ambassador standpoint, who I put the shirts on, what they look like, what they represent, you know. And I also make sure that I'm represented everywhere I go. I'm wearing my business clothes, but usually I wear everything that's associated with me. So I'm learning a lot through that brand. I'm still growing, and I plan to see that brand as a multi-million-dollar corporation in the next 5 to 10 years, and have other people on board from a brand ambassador standpoint to help grow the brand.
Man, that's big though, because the ship only get bigger, man. The empire is only getting bigger. So, which take me to the next, topic. Next pinpoint is No Crumbs Left on the Table campaign.
Yeah.
Can I get the mission statement on that?
It's basically, slow feet don't eat.
Slow feet do not eat.
Slow feet don't eat. Like, that's basically what Shantae was telling me years ago. If you don't have your business together, you leaving crumbs on the table. You leaving crumbs falling through the cracks. So this campaign represents not only having the business taken care of, not leaving no crumbs on the table, but we taking advantage of every opportunity that comes our way that makes sense. So I'm getting called for a speaking engagement. I'm getting called for a show. If I'm doing verses, whatever I'm doing that represents BOXX the Hungry Genius as a brand, I'm making sure I do it to the best of my ability, and I'm maximizing. There's no excuses. I can't afford to say, nah, I ain't gonna do that. I don't feel like doing that. No, when there's no crumbs on the table mentality, that means I'm maximizing. I'm taking advantage of every small or big opportunity, and I'm maximizing the small opportunities, and I'm maximizing the big opportunities, and I'm bringing the food back to the table. So I had to learn through this pandemic. Instead of looking for a seat at other people's table, I had to build my own table. And you build your own table. Is when you got your own table. You're not gonna leave no crumbs on the table at your own table, because if you see crumbs on the table, you're gonna get them off the table, right? You can do that at your own table. When you're sitting at somebody else's table and there's crumbs on the table, guess what? You might not be privy to the crumbs because that's their table. So No Crumbs on the Table campaign is just showing me just working undeniably, but also teaching as I work in the process. So I'm excited about this campaign, man.
Man, I'm excited to...
Mixtape on the way. No Crumbs on the Table mixtape on the way, too.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to be around that situation, just seeing how, no pun, just seeing how hungry you are. Seeing how, everything you touch, like I say, is not I said this earlier to Pharaoh, a little away from the camp. Every mistake is not a mistake until you let people know.
Yeah.
Every trial error is somebody's, he's doing his thing.
Right.
Every trial error you do, that is, somebody looking at it like, oh, he doing his thing. Because you're not letting nobody know that's the trial error.
And I love letting people know my mistakes, man. My dad told me years ago, he said, if you're not making mistakes, you're not working. Because you don't make mistakes.
Yeah, that's honest. I like that. So yeah, man, we inside the grind talk. You with OmgJaycee, but we talking to BOXX the Hungry Genius, man. Right. Like I say, I'm behind the camera right now. I want y'all to hear my voice. I don't want to be on the camera right now because we can't. Hey, man, the reason being, it's too much energy coming through them lens right now, and
yes, sir.
Too much boss talk, man. So if y'all hear my voice, that's good enough. I want to go on and say, You know, a lot of people. You know what? I'm gonna come back to that question. That's a lengthy question. We'll say that to the last. Basically, hey, how we gonna break down 24 hours? But I will say this could feed off of that. Off of 24 hours, right? That's the last question we're gonna go. But the next question I want to touch on is all bets on me is what you made a single. Right. You know, you made a single saying all bets on me, but you made a movement about that too for yourself.
Correct.
When did you get to that point of thinking? Like what made BOXX say, you know what? Jobs scaring me. People scaring me of how they like to work. You know, it's okay to work. We're not doubting jobs. We're not doubting this. But when you like doing something that's containing your time,
right?
When did BOXX say all bets on me, man? I gotta bet on myself.
I've been doing that my whole music career. I just wasn't aware of it. Even when I was signed, I worked like an independent artist, like I wasn't signed. But to specifically the All Bets on Me record, I was reading Jay Prince's book. Man, I don't want to disrespect his book, right? The Art and Science of Respect. Go get that book, amazing book. And in the book, he talked about him being from the streets. Obviously, if you know Jay Prince's name, he definitely from the streets. But he as a younger kid, he left the streets and tried to go make a commitment to his mother. And he told her, "I'm gonna go do the 9 to 5 thing, mama." He said, "I'm gonna do it to make you happy." And he did it. He went to go work at a bank. And I never forget this. I think the name of the chapter was called All Bets on Me. And he went to the bank, he worked at the bank, great worker. And see, when you think at a different level, if God bless you to already think at a different level, sometimes you can't even comprehend with a lower level of thinking because you don't even start thinking at that level. So as soon as he started working at the bank in the book, he said he already was asking questions on how can I become the top guy at the bank. Now, of course, other people looking at him like, man, you better take this teller position and just be cool. And he started working hard. He said, I believed in the values, working hard, getting there on time, all of that. And he said one day they just came in and they fired most of the people. And they told him to put his stuff in the box and leave. And he said he looked at his co-workers and was like, so this how they do you? They can take the rug from up under you just like that. And he said he knew at that point in time he had to go back outside with the wolves and he had to depend on himself and he could never let nobody else dictate his future ever again, you know. And that chapter convicted me to go write All Bets on Me. I was working a 9 to 5 at that time, and I'm being very transparent. Entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. So I had left my job, went full time as an entrepreneur, went back to a job. I done that like 7, 8 times. At this time, it was mentally putting a strain on me because I had a taste of entrepreneurship and freedom for a long time, and due to me not being disciplined in certain areas, I had to go back to a job temporarily. Well, it was tough because I had went back to a job thinking like a business owner. I wasn't thinking like an employee no more. So every time I was on the clock, man, I would cringe, right? And reading that book would get me through my shift. And I remember I was working at a hotel, I think the Radisson Hotel or the Marriott, and I was sitting on my lunch break. I finished reading that chapter in the book, and I started to write All Bets on Me on the back of my car. And that led to the movement, and that led to, I didn't even know a pandemic was about to happen like a year later, and that just led to me saying, you know what, I'm gonna write a letter to the people. I have an All Bets on Me letter to the people that I posted on my Instagram right before the pandemic started. Manifestation. I didn't even know the pandemic was coming. I posted the letter maybe in like January. The pandemic hit in like March. And I was telling people in the letter, if y'all dependent upon the president and all these external things to come save you, that's not how life works. And it was basically a call to action to let people know, man, hey, if you dependent on unemployment, these different things like that, man, you never gonna get into a position where you self-sufficient and you self-reliant. And little did I know, in March, the pandemic was gonna happen.
A total shutdown.
Exactly, you know. So I already had went into the pandemic with that thought process that I'm finna work All Bets on Me, push the song, and have an All Bets on Me mentality. And you know, that's what started that. And I still have that mentality, and I bet on myself throughout the whole pandemic, and here I go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We inside the grind talk, man. I'm gonna keep saying we educate. We could never interrogate, man. We could never interrogate. So sitting here with BOXX, the Hungry Genius, you know, I've seen a lot of your videos. I've seen a lot of your in the car expressing yourself. Sometimes talking to yourself while engaging with people. Right. That's another big thing.
The genius gems.
Yeah, you know, you really telling yourself these things, but it's other people who need to hear it in realistic times.
Right.
You sat in the car not even too long ago. I think it might have been 2 weeks to this date. Whenever this drop, it's gonna be fresh to anybody who listening. But right. I want you to go back to when you said you worked that job and they had robots around you.
Ooh, wow.
You know, you went in there already with the mindset of, I just need the bread. I just need the foundation to come back.
Right.
But you was scared from the people who wasn't looking for that and still was just walking around and just waiting on the answer. What made you? I remember you said you quit that job, but give us the steps into that mindset now. Like,
oh man, I never forget that day as long as I live. That started my entrepreneur journey. Man, I ain't gonna say the company name, but I was working at a warehouse, and you know, I knew that's not where I wanted to be. Might I mind you, I know people looking at this, they like, this boy crazy. I've had over 47 jobs in my life.
Come on, man.
I would change jobs like underwear. You know, if this job was paying $1 more, bet I'm gone. And I would get to the jobs and I would work everybody, so it wasn't on no me being lazy type of thing. But I just, in my mind, these jobs, I'm passing through until my passion starts to pay me, right? That's my mindset. I'm just passing through. You know, I never seen, this finna be a career. I'm finna stay here for 30 years and get this retirement for one. No, indeed, no. That never was my thought process. But at this time, I had started selling life insurance on the side. So that's when I was getting my feet wet with entrepreneurship. You know, at that point, what it was taking me in a week to make at my job, I was making in 1 hour selling life insurance. So you would think, okay, well, man, shit, he working maybe 30, 40 hours at the warehouse at that time, making $400-500 a week. I'm going to help a client with insurance at that time, making $400-500 an hour. It wasn't adding up to me, but I still was scared to take that leap of faith because it was 100% commission. Right? So show you how God prepares you for things. He was preparing me to be a hunter all the way. I had always had an entrepreneur spirit in high school, selling CDs, things like that. But it's a different type of ball game when everything is dependent upon your hustle and there's no guaranteed check, right? So at this time, I'm at the job. I'm already going back and forth with my mind about, man, when should I leave, man? I remember one time I came in, I helped 2 clients before I clocked in at work. I made about $1,000 in 2.5 hours, and I still had to go do 40 hours to make $400 at my job. It wasn't making sense at that point no more, you know? But this particular day, I was on lunch break. I was on lunch break, and for like 1 second, like everybody in the warehouse just turned into robots, like an assembly line. Like, boom, everybody was on autopilot. They had been working there for so long, they knew how to do their job in their sleep. You know what I'm saying? I was the only one woke around there, you feel me? So, I'm just like, I got scared. I got scared. I really got scared. I'm like, this is what's waiting on you. And once again, let me preface this: no disrespect to nobody that's working a 9-to-5 job, because I done paid my dues in that thing, and I'm humble enough. If I would have to go back to that route to feed my family, I would do that. Number one, because there's people, I see a lot of entrepreneurs bashing people that work jobs. I'm not on that. And number two, I respect people that go out here and work, because I know everybody not meant to be an entrepreneur, and people that specifically work in warehouses. I used to get them jobs because all I had was a high school diploma, and I knew that the jobs that would pay me the most money with less experience was the jobs that was going to have me doing wear and tear on my body. So I say that to say, man, this is waiting for me. I don't want to be these guys, no disrespect. I don't want to be here in the next 3 to 5 years still picking up on boxes, riding on what is the forklifts.
Yeah.
I didn't, because you gotta think, JC, you an artist too, and we're creators. At work, I'm already done wrote 4 songs on the lunch shift. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm already thinking what I can do when I get off work, or all the things I need to do before I clock in at work. I work the night shift, so that was another thing. I'm working 8 at night to 4 p.m. in the morning. My whole night is gone. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So when them people turn into robots, I'm gonna be honest, I got scared. I came from my lunch break. I asked the boss, how can I put my 2 weeks notice? That night I made a decision to really just, for a lack of better terms, excuse my language if any kids are watching this, I made a decision to let my nuts hang. You feel me? I had to. I say, man, even if I'm a fail, I need to know what it's like to be free on the other side. And I called my mom. She was using my truck at the time. I say, Mom, I need to come get me. Just come get me. And she came. And this when I knew I could go full time into entrepreneurship that day. My mama would always tell me, keep a little side hustle. She never, even to this day, bashed my entrepreneurship endeavor. She never say that ain't gonna work. My mama is my biggest supporter. She the one that gave me the confidence. But she didn't fight me that night. She seen the conviction in my eyes. I say, I'm not doing this no more. And she was like, what are you talking about? I said, I'm working for myself. She said, well, what you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna work for myself. And she said, okay. And she didn't say nothing the whole ride home. She didn't, and I knew that was a piece for me to go ahead and jump full-fledged. And being totally transparent, I lasted for 2 years before I had to go back to a job. But them 2 years was the best times in my life, because in them 2 years, I was like this in sales. I didn't understand. I could sell, but I didn't know the art of selling. So by me having to pay my bills and feed my son off of 100% of my efforts, I got incredibly great at sales fast. You know what I'm saying? I learned sales fast. I became one of the top people in my office in sales. I'm a regional leader to this day, you know, in my office. And I got real good, and I felt like if I would have stayed on that job, I probably would have just dragged my feet, because I knew I had the security of a paycheck. But when everything is on 100% of you, you become a hunter. You don't become a skinner, you become a hunter, and you bet all the way on yourself. So that was the day that I went full-fledged into entrepreneurship full-time. And I lasted for 2 years before I had to go back, and then I went back into entrepreneurship full-time. So like Steve Harvey say, sometimes that parachute not gonna come out when you take that leap of faith. Mine's did, but then
my favorite. That's my favorite.
I had to go back. So yeah, that was a monumental time in my life, and I never forget that, man. So shout out to everybody out there who work 9 to 5s, but they aspire to be entrepreneurs, or that's doing that entrepreneur thing on the side, you know.
Yeah. And then like bro say, man, you know, supervisors, managers, district managers, man, y'all. No harm to anybody feeding their family. It's when you're becoming immune to the situation. That's what I'll say. That's my opinion, but that's a fact. When you become immune to a situation, that means you're outdoing what you're doing. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry, excuse my language. I don't give a that JC came out right quick.
JC came
I don't care if you're a police officer, a firefighter, you cut grass. When you're immune to what you do, that means you go suit up, body yourself with armor, and go out there and make a move that's gonna get yourself killed, because you're used to this.
Right.
You getting out that car, assuming that the person in that car, as a police officer, assuming that person is sweet.
Right.
Assuming that person don't have nothing that's gonna harm you, and that's when the most harm come to you. It's when you're comfortable, you know.
One of the best pieces of wisdom I got was from my dog. Shout out to Desmion Barrow, man. That's my homie, bro.
Yeah.
Des said, BOXX, he said, you've never had that many jobs because he said you didn't become an entrepreneur because you don't like working a job. That's what I would always tell myself. He said, you an entrepreneur by heart. He said, now the thing is, it's on you. He say either you're gonna be a bad entrepreneur or a good entrepreneur, but he say that's how God wired you. So he say you working jobs in that system, it never gonna go with how God wired you. I had never thought of it like that, because I would run into the same things at most of the jobs. Either I would get there and outwork everybody, and eventually it becomes mundane to me, and I want the freedom to do something else, or I collide with management, or I would go to these jobs and I would work hard and stay to myself. And other people at the jobs that needed the jobs would let the managers talk to them any kind of way, and I would get into it with management, because when they would pull that with me, I would stand tall. So it's like, okay, obviously I don't have authority problems, but I'm not gonna let nobody talk to me any kind of way because they're in a leadership position. And if I'm gonna outwork mostly everybody here, I want to get compensated. So that system just never worked for me long term. It always worked for me short term. And when Dez told me that, I thought about it. I say, you're right. I'm an entrepreneur, whether I want to accept it or not. Now the reality is, either I can be a sucker one, right? I can suck at being an entrepreneur, or I can become great at it. But that's who I am. You feel me? So, shout out to the people out there, man. Don't run from your call and embrace it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we're going to touch on like one or two more things. I know we hitting that hour mark, but I'm glad y'all going to be able to take an hour worth of game, man.
Thank you for the sit down.
And I needed this. I needed
therapy
this
for me.
Like I say, man, some of these, I'm asking this for my damn self. I need to know the answers to these things. Coming from an artist myself, I never been an artist who had people around me who was ready to distribute me. But when I got in the game professionally 5 years ago, everything I touched turned into gold without me knowing that it was my touch.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, damn, man. People calling me a promoter. I'm packing shows. But this because I wasn't getting booked as an artist. I'm throwing my own show. Oh, y'all don't want to book me? All right, come on, man. DJ whoop-de-woo. I know all the DJs in my contact. I know all the security guards. And people just rock with the brand, but that wasn't me noticing that technically I was promoting. Or when I pick up a camera, I wasn't realizing why I'm getting all these bookings. I'm just shooting my dogs. I'm just making sure my artists look good with the camera. I'm not a photographer. I just know when I picked up that camera, I needed to look good on camera. So I take that back to say, I everything I touched came from me either owing somebody.
But see, that goes back to really? Watch this. That go back to what I said a year ago on one of my jeans jams in the car. See, God was preparing you. Like, sometimes we want to be the nuts and bolts of operation when God preparing us to be the machine itself. You know what I'm saying? So you helping over here, you doing this the whole time. God just preparing you to become the machine. You know what I'm saying? But you not thinking of, I want to be the machine. You thinking of, I'm just doing what I got to do because this person wasn't reliable, or this didn't go on. I need to learn this myself, and you become the machine.
And that's real. That's real. I know I'm going to have to say this in front of the camera, but right now I'm going to say it behind the camera. Like I just say, my latest, I came up with a burger line, a Ratchet Burger.
Yeah, shout out to the Ratchet Burger.
Shout out to the Ratchet Burger.
Shout out to the Ratchet Burger.
I say this before it get big, man. So what made me come up with that company, so to say, not so the name, but the company itself. I got into some, I was just at a point where I was like, people, my characteristic had people loaning me, They taking care of me, So I got to the point where I owed one of my partners some money.
Correct.
I owed him like $100.
I
say, man, I need a business. So I came up with the burgers to pay him back.
Look at wow.
And multiple sales after he's paid back, I'm rolling like I never owed nobody. And it's like,
See, then
that's it's just,
there's no
just knowing you can come
with
it, from an idea to empire always had me like.
There's no such thing as a problem. A problem is a hidden opportunity. It was a hidden opportunity and you own your dollar.
I owe my dog like 100 something. Like I say, look, to something that might be chump change, but when you don't have it, you coming from a lot. Man, I was like 10 burgers, 12 burgers. I could, you straight. And then I don't even, to be honest, like I said, we transparent because of the gems we give.
Facts.
I don't even think I had to pay him back all of that. I think I gave him half of that. And he was just like, man, give me a burger, I'm good. So, but that got me off my butt to say, all right, look, instead of me going, get this job right now. Or until I get this job, let me know what God gave me. And that's 2 hands and a mind,
You bet on yourself.
I bet on myself. And that's where I'm going at. So I love your words with that. I bet it on myself. And that's what's gonna take.
Let's show what type of man you is too, man.
Yeah,
you know,
bro. Yeah, man.
Anybody I've ever owed, look, you know, I've had to borrow from a lot of people in my entrepreneur journey. I don't sugarcoat it like it's all, you know, people see me with the shades and the woo. But man, of course, behind closed scenes, you trying to keep the lights on, woo. But from a leadership standpoint, you gotta still lead from the front, and you can't look like what you're going through when you're out there on the front line. So I can attest to having owe somebody $100 or $200 or whatever like that. But you know,
America was built on loans, if we think about it like that. So if and this goes to, we educating, we not interrogating. If you in the business world, do not feel afraid.
They call it in the business world, they call it OPM, other people's money. Most of the time when you see these people making these big business deals, they done got money from somebody. Big billionaires and millionaires never use their money. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
so, you know, I seen a lot of people through the pandemic was like, oh, if somebody got a PPP loan, you know, they was looking at it like, man, their business must be going under. No, man, if you got a PPP loan during the pandemic and you had a business, or whether you had one or not, that's none of my business. But shout out to all of the black people that got PPP loans and used it, you know, for their business or whatever like that. Because the other people of other ethnicities, they use other people's money to fund their vision and their project.
Oh yeah, man. You know, we gonna make it look bad as a culture, and that's what we changing now, man. We changing the culture. That's why me and BOXX sitting here talking to I say moguls to a lot of people, man. They got a lot of people come up to us for ideas and stuff like that. So for us to be sitting down talking right now, we creating something for the people under us.
Right.
To even know that they could talk about things. So that's why I say,
oh, that's tight. I thought,
you know. Oh yeah, man.
MIT, moguls in training.
Yeah, man. We setting up a door that you could never lock, you know.
Thanks.
So I want to take that to OmgJaycee. If you could go back to your speech of impact,
right,
and the mission statement of this campaign, or what you were speaking on at your conference that time.
Right.
I'll pull up an image of that in the interview for y'all. You know, a couple of things we was talking to. I'm gonna pull up some images so BOXX could have a verbal and image vouch for what he's saying.
Right.
But the meaning of impact, if you could just give that for us and speak on why that's important to the people who again, the people who haven't took the first steps to it. I'm gonna say that.
Right. Impact, you know what I'm saying? I broke it down to acronym. Shout out to Tremaine Sterling, one of the biggest, greatest leaders coming out of Baton Rouge. He helped me with my speech that day. I don't remember the exact acronyms for each letter, but shout out to Impact Charter. They booked me to come perform there, and then when I talked in between each songs to the kids, the principal noticed that my sincerity, and she called me back, her and her husband, to come and speak as the speaker for the 8th graders graduating. So shout out to them. But impact is real big, you know. I was letting the 8th graders know that, you know, they have to make an impact, because that's a critical age. In 8th grade, you 13. Most of the time, you already made a decision on who you want to become, or who you think you want to become, or what you want to do in life. So I knew that talking to them about impact was going to be very intentional. Like you said earlier in the conversation, that life culture. When you talking to somebody, how important is it for what you saying as soon as you give them advice? So that day, I knew that I didn't need to wing it. I knew that I needed to, the night before, be intentional with what I spoke about from an impact standpoint, because these kids might not have that positive leader in their life like my son has from me and other people in his life that's breathing belief into him. Some of these kids go home to crazy circumstances. So I'm trying to think of one of the you know.
So I'll break it down with you. I was ignore distractions and integrity.
Yeah, integrity. So ignore distractions. I was just telling them, you know, ignore distractions in terms of, and we can make it a broader perspective, because I know a lot of people gonna be watching this. I was just telling them, ignore distractions in life, things that can get you off of your focus. Watch this. The one of the best pieces of wisdom I ever heard is, you never know a distraction is a distraction until it finishes distracting you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You never know a distraction is a distraction until it finishes distracting you. That could be a woman, that could be a vice, That could be anything.
As soon as it's over with, you like.
Now you like,
wait
oh man. So no distractions.
So that takes us to the ilm, I guess, of maximize moments and make mistakes.
Correct. And to touch on the other eye, integrity. Always do what you say you're gonna do when you say you're gonna do it. That's big in life in general.
That's big.
What you said, M was?
Maximize moments and make mistakes.
There you go. We talked about that earlier. Maximizing the small opportunities. It goes back to the mission statement of no crumbs left on the table. And you said the other M was for what?
Make mistakes.
Make mistakes.
So maximize your moments.
And make mistakes. It go to show you, I didn't even know you was going to ask me this, but it goes to show you I'm not on camera speaking fluff, because a lot of the things you speaking on, I spoke on earlier.
Yeah, which I had to enlighten on this, man. That's big.
You said make mistakes. What I said, the white guy, he told me, if you're not making mistakes, you're not working. A lot of people, kids especially, some of their parents, it's like, you got to be perfect. I don't put that on my son. You're going to make mistakes. The thing is, getting better at not making the same mistake twice or multiple times. If you making mistakes, I know you putting in the work. A person that ain't putting in the work ain't making no mistakes.
Can't
you know
make
what I'm saying?
mistakes. Can't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Then the P in that, I see you say, pursue your purpose and be punctual.
Yep. Watch this. The first thing I did when I got here was apologize to y'all because I was in fact late, right? Punctuality is important. One thing I learned is if you're on time, if you're ahead of time, then that's how you're gonna think in everything in your life, and also what was the other P for?
Punctual.
Outside of punctual, what was the
Okay, let me go back to it. So what you said was pursue your purpose.
Pursue your purpose
and be punctual.
I emphasize that with them kids because most of the time, us as parents, we try to push on our kids what we think they should be doing or what we want them to do. You need to be a doctor. You need to be a lawyer. You need to go into this field because it pays the most. Guess what? At the end of the day, man, that child, if they find their purpose early, especially if they anything like us that's creators and we fell in love with music early, even if we go do something that we don't want to be doing, we're going to be thinking about what God gave us a purpose to do. Now, when we at that age in the 8th grade, we don't know that the word purpose and we don't understand purpose. But it's that thing that you'll do for free and you can't stop thinking about. So I just wanted people to know in general, pursue your purpose. I was talking to them kids, but I really was talking to their parents in there as well. So your purpose, man, you pursue your purpose. That's what God put in your heart.
So we're breaking down the acronyms of impact right now. We on A.
Okay.
Which is always believe.
Always believe. Very simple. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, bet on yourself. That's what I say. Believe, man, your belief. My mama, if she didn't do anything else to this day, my mama still breathes belief into me. My mama always told me at a young age, you're a leader, you're not a follower. You're a leader, you're not a follower. She just put that in my head. Then you could do anything you put your mind to. You are smart. So of course she would praise me for the good grades and the things I would do, but also on the end of that too, she didn't overly praise me because it's like you doing what you're supposed to be doing. When my son is doing those things, I celebrate him, but I also let him know this is normal. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
And that's like, man, it's the superheroes. It's the things like, and when I say superheroes, I mean anything that makes any age really, not younger or older, it just makes you have a cleanse of safety, right?
Facts.
Rather it's financial, rather it's protection,
right?
It's just having that sense of safety, is what we need to preach. And I take it back to financial being first. So on impact, that was what I pulled out of that. I don't see anything for C and T that you said, but
I think C was choose your circle wisely.
Yeah, I was gonna say
choose your circle wisely. That's in life, man. That's a deep conversation.
Yeah, who you around dictate.
Man. Your wrong friends could have you in the wrong situation. But also the right people can have you in the right situation. And so choose your friends wisely, especially if you're young and you're looking at this, because at a 13 to 21-year-old age, man, it's a lot of crazy things going on out here in the streets and a lot of influence from social media. So you gotta make sure that you putting yourself in a position with people that are making the right decisions. You know, and if you're an adult, it goes without saying. You know, you hanging around people that's negative all the time. You're hanging around people that doesn't have no ambition, that's always down, that's always have a pity party, a cloud over their head. Even if you're a great person, eventually it rubs off on you. If you're around people that's on go, like my dog Pharaoh, every time I call him, he on go. You know what I'm saying? When you got people that's ready to go, that's thinking different, that's holding you accountable, and also when you're in rooms with people that are smarter than you, then it elevates you. You know, so choose your circle wisely. And I think T was what trust your transition. You know,
that's big.
Trust your transition, man. That's so big because you're gonna be in a situation in life where you're gonna always be at a fork in the road. And I always remember that fork in the road in my life have came a few times. But it would be uncomfortable. But I always know when I'm at a fork in the road from a transition standpoint that I need to make the transition. It's just me trusting it, you know. Going from BOXX to Hungry Genius, thinking about what people in Sherwood was gonna think about me was a tough transition. Cause I'm like, man, I don't make gospel music, right? Of course I make some street records, but most of my records are still edgy and heavy bass, but they're more inspirational hustler records. But I'm like, is people gonna still accept my music if I'm dressing like this? That's what I was worried about, because I didn't quote unquote look like a rapper anymore. But I had to trust my transition. So trusting your transition is important, whether you at a job and you're going to the next level, whether you're in business going to the next level, when you're a parent and you're going to the next level, growing pains as a parent, you know, all of those things, man. So that was impact, man. I'm glad you went through that. That's dope.
Yeah, bro. I'm here to talk about what needs to be talked about.
Y'all better come do an interview, man. Hey,
it's stamped. It is stamped. BOXX the Hungry Genius. Just let y'all know, man. And you know what else? I'm not gonna say it like this, but I interview who I know needs to be heard. Right. It's deep. Like I say, it's deeper than the music. It's deeper than right now it's deeper than the message, because you could give a message and they don't even live there no more. It's just in the mailbox, you know. You know, so we got to make sure somebody lives in what they are walking in, man. You got to have faith in yourself before you could get faith from any man or woman, you know, or anything really.
Facts.
I could read a billboard that say I want $1 million, but if I don't have the faith, I'm not gonna go seek.
Facts.
I'm not gonna go seek it.
Facts.
So that takes me to this question that I'm gonna have you open up and just give a big message to wrap up the interview.
Okay.
Last important thing, man. Learning the music business and how to maximize performing at showcases and open mics. We're gonna speak to the artists right now, to the creators, the poets, the importance of learning the music business and how to maximize performing at showcases and open mics. Because I do a lot of showcases as a coordinator. I don't necessarily know how to let an artist know how important that is, because I'm walking through it. I'm giving them the show. I know my resources that I bring in here, but to an artist, let them know how important it is to know the music business and in these showcases and open mics, how to maximize every corner of that building.
Perfect. Number one, I started a coaching program. I haven't launched it yet. It's already started, copyrighted, everything. So I'll be launching that before the year's over with. It's called Hungry Boy Coaching University. I'm playing off the letters HBCU. So a lot of these things you'll be able to get. My first product that I'm dropping is 5 reasons why a DJ is not spinning your music. That's on me. I'm gonna give that to the artist for free. The first product I'm dropping though for sale is going to be a showcase book that I've written. It's already wrote. I just have to go get it published, right? But to speak on what you're talking about, the music business, like I said earlier, is very important. Go buy all the things that you need to know about the music business. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it online. Get the latest edition. The music business changes so much. I don't want you to buy outdated edition, because the guy who wrote the book, I don't know his name. I want to plug him so bad. He has different versions of the book based on where the music industry was at in real time. So make sure when you go buy this book, all the things I need to know about the music business, that you get the latest version. Number one, I would say that. Number two, I will go follow Wendy Day on YouTube. The name of her Instagram is what is it? Rap Coalition. Is it Roger? What? Roger Troutman. Oh, yeah, that was it right there. Yeah, Donald Passman. Shout out to Pharaoh, man, for the assist. Alley-oop. Yeah, there you go. Donald Passman, that's the book. Follow Wendy Day. Wendy Day is the one that brokered the deal for Master P to get the infamous, I think it was 80-20 or 80-15 deal. And she also brokered the deal for what we know today as Cash Money, for them to be able to get all the money that they got and still keep ownership of their masters. And she's helped a lot of other artists. She's for us, the artists. But yeah, so learning the music business is very important, because you want to make sure if you're taking time away from your family, your loved ones, you want to make sure that you're going to get compensated for this. So many people make money off of our music, and it doesn't be the artists. We get paid last. You know, no artist is going to starve on my watch. You know, so if you looking at this, my goal is to help the artists, because they extort us and they take advantage of us. And when I say they, people from all sorts of the industry, you know what I'm saying? So learning the business helps you have more leverage when you walk into rooms and you have negotiating power, whether it's with a deal, whether it's with a contract, whether it's with paperwork, whether it's with the DJ, whether it's with the club owner. You don't be out of the loop, and you don't say, hey man, I just want to create the art, and then you get somebody that finesse you. A lot of your biggest artists don't own their music. A lot of your biggest artists have to do shows till they die, even if they make a lot of money, because they didn't get the business taken care of, because they didn't know that it was a business. By the time they found out, they were in bad contracts. So I don't want that to be you. You know, the second thing, showcases. You know, I can go in so many ways about that, but I will say this to touch on it and we wrap up. You know, the thought process with a showcase for most of us artists is we go there, I want to get exposure. We get excited because once again, we're displaying our art. The thing that I don't see artists doing showcases is they don't have any material. They don't have any merch. They don't have anything to leave with the consumer, to show the consumer how they can follow up with them. You know, leaving after they perform, not staying to the last performer. You know, all of those things are important. You know, most of the time, even if a showcase is promoted well, shout out to JC. The showcases I've seen him do, he's always been a great host, you know, interacting with the crowd, things like that. You know, when you're at a showcase as an artist, you want to maximize. You got to think, how do I stand out as an artist in this showcase? It's me and 20, 30 other artists. I don't care how dope your records are, the attention span of the people in the crowd, they're not going to remember, especially if you perform fifth and it's on artist number 15, even if your record was dope, unless you just had so much of an amazing performance to where they couldn't forget you, which you should give them type of performances, you need to have something to follow up to create a fan. The objective of a showcase is to get exposure, but the objective of you as an artist is to build a fan base. And I don't think most artists know that they're building a fan base. So my thought process is, when I perform at a showcase, when I get on stage, it's a commercial. Why is it a commercial? Because when I do my best on stage, that gives me networking power when I get off stage. Because the first thing people gonna tell me is, man, I love your performance. I love track number such and such. Now it's a conversation starter. Now I can get names, I can get numbers, and I put it in my database. I see a lot of artists at showcases, they rap or sing and they get off stage. They don't network with nobody. They leave the venue with their people. And it's like, in their mind, they think that they won. I get it. But you didn't do anything. You didn't get the DJ number. You didn't get the club owner number.
Come on, speak on it.
You didn't get JC number, the host. You didn't build no relationships. A showcase is not meant for you to get a record deal. A showcase, I look at as a networking opportunity that just so happens to have me performing at it, right? So what happens is, in that situation, you want to make sure that when you at a showcase, you get everybody number, right? or at least get the key people number. I learned that from Murphy Lee. Murphy Lee said, being on the road with Nelly, I learned that he said you need to at least leave with 3 numbers. The club owner number, the DJ number, and the host number, or the promoter number, right? You need those people. That's how he would build those relationships, and he would stay on the road and stay getting booked. You know what I'm saying? Showcases are amazing. They are great, number one, if they're ran right. But if they're not ran right or ran wrong, you as the artist need to know how to maximize it, no matter if it's a showcase that's getting ran right or wrong. And the way to maximize it, even if you don't have control over how the showcase was ran, you make sure that you have flyers with the QRC codes, you have product, jump drives or whatever. You definitely get the DJ information. One thing I see that artists don't do, and I get it, they'll go to the showcase, give a great performance, and then won't figure out how can I get this record that's so dope that I got a great response in rotation with the DJ that's DJing at the showcase. Because the DJs that DJ at the showcases, they don't just DJ showcases, they DJ at clubs. So I've yet to hear an artist that has transitioned here their songs out of a showcase and then get it in regular rotation and start getting booked for shows. That's not bad. That just means a lot of artists are going to showcases, they're performing, and they're not building relationships with the DJs. So the DJ get paid, they go home, and guess what? They play the artist music who not coming to showcases. And then the artists start feeling that I'm going to all these showcases and I'm performing, but I'm still not moving the needle with my music career. So it ain't that you shouldn't be doing showcases. Definitely do showcases. If anything, it gets you better. It sharpens your saw. You get better at performing. You get to test what record works with the crowd, and maybe this might be the record I need to work. Showcases are amazing. But if you don't know how to maximize a showcase, just like Miss Angie told me, who taught me the music business, a great move getting made that don't nobody see is just as big as not making a move at all. So if you go into a showcase and you're not maximizing, it's just as if you didn't perform. You just wasted your money to go there, drive, give all your effort and energy on stage, and you don't even know how to take advantage of that situation. So, you know, me having a love for this music, me being an artist who came up through open mics and showcases, I don't want nobody to be jogging in place. I want everybody to be moving the ball forward, whether it's 3 yards, 5 yards, or a touchdown. So be on the lookout for the HBCU, man, coaching program. I got a showcase book on the way. And, man, y'all just tap in with me. Follow me at BOXX_hungry. And, man, if you see me in the streets, man, holler at me, man. I'm always for helping people, man, and, you know, just motivating the people to bet on themselves. And I always tell people I sell music, merch, and motivation, the 3 M's, baby.
3 M's, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming to the crib, coming to the Grind Network.
I appreciate you, man. I'm proud of you.
Definitely coming on the Grind Talk. I appreciate you, brother. Hey, look, this one thing I want to say before we leave. BOXX has a good way of involving himself around artists, right? 9 times out of 10, you're not going to know he's an artist without him telling you, or if you're seeing him at work, you know. The reason I say that's important is, brother, they got a lot of artists who introduce themselves as an artist.
Right.
You only giving me 2 things. Either I'm gonna work with you,
right,
or I'm gonna pick what's wrong with you.
Right.
Right. That's the 2 things when people introduce themselves as an artist.
Right.
Introduce yourself as what you want to be grabbed as. That's my thing I'm gonna take away from, man.
Right.
BOXX not gonna come to me if we never met and say, hey man, I'm BOXX the Hungry Genius, I rap, here's my mixtape.
Right.
He's gonna come up with some piece of himself that's gonna make me rock with him.
Correct.
Before I even hear the music.
Wow.
And that's big. I had to learn that in my game too.
I appreciate that.
As a host, it helped. Yeah, because you certain things we do off of instinct.
Correct.
You're not gonna run from a bear if you just met a bear. You go run from a bear just off instinct.
Right. Facts.
You know, I don't have to know that bear will kill me to run from it.
Right.
Same in the music game. I don't have to come in with the jury with the if I know I could talk to the DJ properly before the show even starts.
Facts.
I could walk back in at 12 with this fat chain on with a watch.
Facts.
But at 9:30, I was hands to hand with the DJ, helping him set up.
There you go.
You know, learning his way, you know. That's at 9:30.
At 9:30.
But at 12 o'clock, when I come back in here, I got my shades on.
Right.
I'm walking to my
you're
section.
in work mode now.
You know, and that's what a lot of people need to separate, because I'm not going to just introduce myself to you.
Right.
And leave you with nothing about me, just my music. Correct. Now you listening to my music dictating.
That's your humility, though. We talked about earlier.
And I like that when you said that.
A lot of artists introduce themselves, but they introduce themselves with the arrogance of, even if you don't know who I am, you should know who I am.
Yeah.
That's a turnoff to me in this business, even if you know you dope. You know, when I introduce myself, it's always gonna be from, hey man, I'm BOXX the Hungry Genius. And people will tell me, man, you don't gotta introduce yourself. I know who you is. I don't assume everybody know who I am. And even if you do, my humility allows me to introduce myself just in case you don't know who I am.
Just
you know
in case.
What I'm saying?
Because at the end of the day, if you don't remember the handshake, let me handshake you 3 times.
There you go.
You know, you might be one of them people who, what's up, T.I., man? I'm BOXX the Hungry Genius. I sell you before.
Right.
Well, look, it's the 3rd time I done told you this time. Right. I know you remember me now, you know, so like you say, this is all about the respect of the land we walking on.
Man, you always remember one thing. Art Williams, he's one of the creators of the company I'm involved with, and life insurance, billionaire, but he's a great leader. Mm-hmm. He say, man, people have a big sign on their forehead that says, make me feel special. And people never forget how you make them feel. So, you know, most of the time when I'm greeting people by instinct, I'm already in compliment mode, or if it's an artist standpoint, man, I like what people love hearing about themselves, man, you know what I'm saying? And they never forget how you made them feel in terms of when you did greet them. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. So I want to make sure when I greet somebody, my energy right, you know, and it ain't about me. When it's about me, I know when to make it about me, because I'm performing, I got the mic in my hand, and I like to earn the spotlight. I'm not a, hey, look at me over here type of person. Hey man, if it's not my time, like when I came to your last hosting gig, you ain't know I was in there. It wasn't about me, you know what I'm saying? I came to see y'all perform.
True.
I could have came up to DJ Thunder and say, run, make a move 5 times, right? I could have said, JC, man, let me go ahead and get on the mic. And you probably would have let me perform. But it wasn't about me, and understanding that everything, when it's not about you, and how you introduce yourself to people and build relationships is very important in life. But especially in this industry, man. So stay true to yourself. This is a crazy industry. I know that there's a lot of wolves out here, but if you stand on your square and stay true to who you are, and you navigate through this business, you eventually get what you're working hard for. But you gotta stay consistent in this business, and you gotta bet on yourself, and you can't expect other people to do it for you.
I was about to tell him, give me some game to wrap up, but he just gave us the whole system. You heard me? Yep. The whole game system. Man, we inside the Grind Network. Yep. This is the Grind Talk with OmgJaycee.
You know.
And I'm talking to BOXX the Hungry Genius, man. We just wrapped up an amazing interview. Y'all make sure y'all tune in. Hey, we talking to one of the kings, man. We gonna call this the king. You know how they said the king of comedies, man. Right. It's the king of games, man.
Oh wow, I see it.
We gonna call it the King of Games, man. That might be a new show. I might make that the new
segment. There you go.
King of Games.
I will see that.
So yeah, brother, I appreciate you sliding in with us today.
Thank you, bro.
Shout out to Pharaoh behind the scenes. Y'all can follow bro at 504 Pharaoh.
Yes.
You heard me.
Shout out to Pharaoh.
And I am OmgJaycee at OmgJaycee. Organization must grind. The Grind Network. Be original, stay solid. Forever Judge. The Ratchet Burger. The Grind Girls.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. The list keep going on, man. Y'all want me to keep going? We can keep going, man. Look, the Mid City Promotions. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to B.